Welcome everyone to another review. I'm Caleb Kent, hotel and resort critic. For today's review, I will be covering Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa. I recently got to stay at this property in the first half of January, and here are my thoughts. Before we get started, here are some fun facts about the property. It has 888 villas, it has a golf course, it's a Disney Vacation Club resort, and it is 65 acres in size. The theme of this property is based on the historic and Victorian era of the late 1800s of the city of Saratoga Springs, New York, which is known for its mineral springs and horse racing. And let me tell you, this resort is gorgeous and quite big. But really, the nature settings, building designs, and lakes with fountains shooting up make you feel comforted and at peace here during your stay. Before I get into it all, I just want to clarify that the majority of the villas here are in the vacation home unit buildings, covering most of the property. The resort also has Treehouse Villas to reserve, but I stayed in a regular villa since that's what most of the villas here are. But I will definitely come back and make a review on the Treehouse Villas one day in another video when I find a good deal for it. But as for now, let's begin the review of the resort. When you first arrive at the resort's main entry, you will be captivated by the resort's beautiful scenery, from the trees to the lakes to the golf course. And as you reach the resort's main lobby, you'll take in the atmosphere of the property. This part of the property is known as the Carriage House, which is essentially the resort's lobby, as most of it is outdoors. In the outside portion is pretty neat scenery and the resort's main pool, known as the High Rock Spring Pool area. Given it has rockwork and waterfalls, I think it's safe to assume it's a pretty good pool, especially with the building's architecture surrounding it. That's not a word, Caleb. Anyway, surrounding it. Thank God I caught myself before accidentally mispronouncing a word and then having someone online correct me over it. Anyway, the High Rock Pool area is sick, and there's a water slide with it as well. Inside the actual Carriage House is where you check in. The lobby and concierge has a tall interior with paintings of horses for the walls. Continuing down is the resort's quick service restaurant with tons of seating and a gift shop with a bunch of merchandising. Also around this area are some recreational activities, including campfires, movies under the stars, a community hall, bike rentals, fishing, tennis, basketball, an arcade, and a full-service spa that is still closed apparently at the time of this video. And there's also a Disney Vacation Club preview center, not to mention the golf course. And that's about it for the Carriage House area. Not a whole lot compared to the rest of the actual resort, but it's a good way to get you settled into the resort. And plus, the road Broadway next to it is quite the charm. Now let's talk about the actual resort. The section right by the Carriage House is known as the Springs, which has a small lake in between two of its buildings by the bus stop with a fountain. The third building by the end of the shops by the Carriage House is right by the end of Willow Lake, with another water fountain. And here's a little fun fact that I should have added to the fun facts list. The resort has a lake with the same name as my dog, Willow. Aw, she's so cute, isn't she? Anyway, back to the review. Across the other side of the lake are two of the buildings in the paddock section. Continuing down to the other side of Willow Lake in this section is a walkway bridge over the bigger gap between the sections of the paddock and the springs. The paddock section also has a pool area with a water tower design water slide that fits well with the overview of the section. There's also another fountain in Willow Lake in the big gap at the end, but it wasn't running. Seems like the birds enjoyed that. Right by the paddock section is the carousel section. This section only has two buildings, but it has a carousel design gazebo for barbecues, and a small lake with, yet again, another fountain. Over a ways on the other side of one of the golf course's main portions is the grandstand section. This section is the one that is the most secluded out of the rest. Besides the tree houses, that is. The grandstand section has its buildings facing different directions, all while being in the middle of the golf course. Oh, and there's also a family pool area in this section too. And finally, the section at the other end of the resort is Congress Park, which is the section against the lake on the other side of Disney Springs. There is also a pool in this section, as well as a playground for kids. So yeah, this resort is huge. Not as humongous as Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, but still pretty big. And while it is certainly big, there's no denying it's beautiful all around, especially with all the water fountains in the lakes. The nature around here is really what makes this resort so captivating. The water, trees, and birds make this property just so peaceful and comforting. It's the perfect setting to go jogging in. And not only that, the architecture with the buildings is just so convincing, and definitely sets the mood for the resort's theme to historic Saratoga Springs. This property clearly had a lot of thought put into it when being designed, and that will ultimately help you get situated and relaxed into your stay here. When it comes to dining, you have a few picks. That quick service restaurant in the Carriage House is known as the Artist's Palette, with some entrees that are standard and some that you don't see at other Disney World Resort properties. In the High Rock Springs pool area is a pool bar known as On the Rocks Pool Bar, with some entrees and, of course, drinks. There's also pool bars for the pools in the paddock section and the grandstand section. The one in the paddock section, known as the Paddock Grill, also has entrees and drinks. The one in the grandstand section, known as Backstretch Pool Bar, has only a few snacks and a lower quantity of drink selections. Right by the Artist's Palette in the Carriage House is Chippendale's Cafe at Disney's Lake Buena Vista Golf Course, which is a quick service kiosk place with a decent variety of food options. And finally, right by is the Turf Club Bar and Grill, an American cuisine sit-down restaurant with exceptional looking options. It also has a lounge with some bites to order. And those are your choices. If any of those options are not what you are looking for, then head on over to Disney Springs, which will be very convenient as this property is located right across the lake from Disney Springs and close by to Epcot. When getting to the theme parks, the resort offers Disney bus transportation to get you there. There's also services from the buses around the resort to take you from one section of the property to another. Now, when getting to Disney Springs, the resort has boat launches to take you there. There are 2 dock stations for the boat launches at this resort, one right behind the Carriage House and one at the Treehouse Villas section. And if it's nearby where your villa is, then I'd recommend taking it. You get great views of Disney Springs and the Congress Park section in your peripheral view, and it's just relaxing. Now, if your villa is located far away, then you can easily take a bus over there. But if your villa is actually close to the walkway to Disney Springs from the resort, then you can just walk right over. Whatever method you decide to take, there's no denying you are close to the hub of dining and shopping here at Disney World. And now, the villas. For your selection of villas to book, the resort offers a deluxe studio, a 1-bedroom villa, a 2-bedroom villa, and a 3-bedroom grand villa, all of which have a preferred type, which means it will be close to Disney Springs or the Carriage House. And the 2-bedroom villa preferred is the one I stated, so I could get a good feel for the resort's villas. I was assigned a villa in literally the building right by the walkway to Disney Springs in the Congress Park section. So after I had dinner that night with my family in Disney Springs, I just walked right back. But anyway, when you get to your unit building, if you take the elevator up, you'll come across a quite detailed interior for it that matches the resort's theme. And as you head over to your villa and step inside, you'll be welcomed home by a fine and quite countryside unit. Just like all the other DVC resorts, it's got the same type of design and layout, but it's still no less homey and lavish. When you first step inside, you'll come across a small fancy mirror and a painting of 2 horses wearing hats. Then you'll see the half-booth kitchen table with a multi-hexagon mirror and chandelier light with lamps standing on a ring. The kitchen is straightforward, but does have a nifty design for the cabinet doors and the tile wall. Now the living room has a light gray couch, and there's a wooden look for the coffee table and the stand below the TV. And of course, on the coffee table is a copy of The Story of Disney 100 Years of Wonder. And you'll also spot a decoration of Mickey golfing and a horse racing trophy in between the couch. And the curtains for the window show pixelated flowers. Back towards the front door of this villa is 1 out of 2 bedrooms. This one has 2 queen beds, with the comforting and homey color of light green for the wall background against the beds. And the lights above the beds only adds to its decor. And I especially really like the vintage style headboards that have branches with leaves on them. And the overall bedroom is just pretty cozy, especially with the curtains and Disney horse racing paintings. Also included in this bedroom are 2 closets, one small and one big, a sink area with 2 sinks and cute touches for its design, and a bathroom. And this bathroom shower has 2 shower heads and a pretty neat tile wall. On the other side of the villa is a closet for laundry and another bathroom, with a walk-in shower, also with 2 shower heads, and a private toilet with artwork of leaves. Right by the bathroom and living room is the second bedroom. This bedroom has its own personalized sink area with a pretty sick mirror that has a backlight. There's also a closet and a bathtub as well. Now the actual bedroom has a king bed with nightstand lamps between them that has a sick design of a tree branch. And there's some other decor around here that adds to the bedroom's charm, such as the framed pictures right above the headboard of the bed, depicting historic Saratoga Springs and Mickey and Friends, as well as the mirror on the side wall, the dresser below the TV, and the curtains. Overall, the bedroom is pretty comforting and posh. Now, got more people staying in the villa than the bedrooms can accommodate? In the living room, the stand below the TV can convert into a twin bed and the couch can pull down into a double bed, accommodating 3 extra people.
Ta-da! Okay, I guess it doesn't work.
Above the double pull-out bed is a painting of Mickey and Friends at a house in Saratoga Springs, and the twin pull-out has a painting of Goofy reading a book on a horse at a ranch. And the coolest part about my villa was both bedrooms and the living room had a view of Disney Springs, and the living room had a balcony to step outside onto. Just so all of you are aware, the upper level villas have balconies, while the first floor villas have patios. Now back to my villa. In this view I had in particular, you can see the building's mini courtyard piece, the lake, and restaurants from Disney Springs, such as Paddlefish, Terraline Crafted Italian, and the Boathouse. And I could also see the hot air balloon. And the nighttime views are especially amazing, with Disney Springs all lit up. I had a magical time staying in this villa. Yes, it's simplistic, but it's still luxurious and has that Disney touch for your Disney vacation. I personally recommend getting a view of Disney Springs if you can, but if not, basically any view you'll get here should still be great. And you'll look forward to returning to your villa after a long day of riding attractions or dining and shopping at Disney Springs. There were no problems that I experienced during my stay here, but there are 3 things I want to say. 1, this resort is very costly, as it is right next to Disney Springs, it's luxurious, it gets booked up very swiftly, and not to mention it's a DVC resort. I was able to book this on a good night with a 35% off pass holder discount, so I'm grateful I saved money for what this usually costs. In fact, the Treehouse Villas was only a very tiny bit more expensive that night to reserve on the website when I booked my stay here. But as much as I wanted to reserve it, I chose the regular villa as this is what the majority of the villas here are like, for the sake of getting the main idea of this resort for this review. But once again, when I find a good rate for the Treehouse Villa, I will book it, film it, and make a review on it in a separate video. 2. Every building here for the resort is the same. It's great that there are varying colors and a few differences in the designs for the windows and balconies, but the layout is the exact same. When I stayed at Disney's Old Key West Resort, which is also DVC, I noticed that while a lot of the buildings' layouts are the same, a bunch of them are different. This is really not a big deal, but I feel the need to point it out since I am a critic after all. And 3. Just like Disney's Old Key West Resort, this property feels more like a very nice apartment complex rather than a resort at a theme park. Once again, not a big deal, and I'm pretty sure this was probably intended actually. But the reason I point it out is because some travelers like to stay at places where it feels like it's a getaway from home, rather than somewhere that tries to emulate home. But I think that's what the Disney Vacation Club aims to do with their resorts, hence their slogan, Welcome Home. And that's all I have to yap about for this resort. Even if this resort is aimed to feel like home, it's still very beautiful, grand, and lovely. And anyone who stays here will have a great time here and will enjoy all the aspects, from the architecture to the comforting villas to the nature of the resort. In conclusion, if you are looking for a Disney World Resort property with opulence, gorgeous views, close proximity to Disney Springs, peaceful and splendid villas, and just a great place to stay at, this will be a good choice. But if you are on a tighter budget, want somewhere that feels more like a getaway, or want to stay in a different area at Disney World, then I'd recommend looking into the other Disney World Resort hotels. This DVC resort is no doubt a unique and glorious property, from the scenery all around to the subtle details that help settle you into your stay. And especially the close distance this resort is to Disney Springs, making it perfect for those who like to dine and shop there during their stay at Disney World. I officially now have only one more Disney World Resort property to check off here at Disney World in total, which is none other than Disney's Riviera Resort. But that most likely won't happen for a while. Overall, I got a good feel for this resort and I liked it a lot. In terms of DVC, this property is fantastic. And in terms of Disney World properties in general, this property is terrific. Every site here is exquisite, and the resort has a multitude of qualities that make it a great place to lodge. And based on my experience here, there shouldn't be any reason you wouldn't enjoy this place if you stay here. And so, after everything I've said, Disney Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa gets a final score of 91 out of 100. Thank you for watching this review, and I will catch you all next time. If you liked this review, check out some other properties that I've done a review on this channel. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. But only if you want to. Over and out.